Hey guys, I'm forcing Brent to sit here with me and talk to you guys for a minute. As you can tell, he's really pleased. We just got our moving truck unloaded yesterday finally, so we have beds now, a mess in the house of just boxes everywhere, a lot of unpacking to do, and the kids are at school, so we thought we'd just take a quick minute and tell you guys why we've moved all the way from Arizona out here to South Carolina. We've been getting a lot of calls and messages. He's blaming it on me, but no. We've been getting a lot of calls and messages asking what's going on. So, why did we move here?
Because you wanted to.
So I guess over the last few years, we've always just been kind of curious about properties in other states and, you know, what houses were going for and stuff. So we've kind of always just looked on Zillow, and we're kind of looking at Tennessee, just curious, thought the land, you could get a lot of land for a lot less money. And so we were just curiously looking over the last few years. And then prices started going up ridiculously. And so we kind of just kept on looking further east. And in Arizona, when we looked and we realized that the value of our house was astronomical because the market was just ridiculous. We saw properties out here in South Carolina and we were like, wow, if we were to sell our house in Arizona, we could buy a house in South Carolina for cash and not have a mortgage. And with 4 kids, young kids, that became really appeasing.
Well, I think you need to backtrack. You've always wanted to go to the beach.
So, yeah.
California's really out of the option.
There was no way we'd ever move to California. No. Just the politics, everything is too expensive. No.
Your homesteading over the past couple of years have increased.
Okay.
1 acre was not taking care of it.
Yes. See, that's why I needed Brent here.
We needed to get more acreage. Maybe more of an environmental friendly area. I shouldn't say environmental friendly.
Out of the city.
More conducive to homesteading, dirt, land, places where animals can be without being in the heat, not having to worry about them being in the heat, so on and so forth, and having good soil without having to bring in the soil and having to buy all the things you'd need in the desert to have a good homesteading. And we just outgrew our acre. You know, the gardening, the animals eat the grass up really quick. It was gone. It didn't look like an acre anymore. So we really had to expand. We had to find more acreage. And one of the other key things she wanted was being close to a beach.
Yeah.
And we found that in South Carolina.
I grew up at the beach in Southern California, and I felt like in Arizona is a wonderful state, but I felt like compared to the childhood that I had, our kids were getting gypped on their childhood because they didn't get to have a lot of the experiences that I grew up with at the beach or that he grew up with in a small town. And that's another thing that was kind of appeasing to out here. The beach, more property, easier to homestead on, and we originally found a property in Georgetown, which is a coastal small town closer to the beach, and it was a lot of acreage, so it was really appeasing. And I didn't think that Brent especially, or Braden, or any of the other kids were going to go along with it because, you know, you've been here in Arizona how many years? 20?
We're going on 27 years.
Yeah, and I didn't think he'd ever want to leave there, especially with his mom and his brother there and other family. And so I didn't think he was going to go for it. And when I showed him, after a few weeks, he's kind of like, you know, that's no mortgage and all that land. It's kind of appeasing. So he was gonna fly out to South Carolina to look at it and wanted me to go with, and I said, no way. There's no way I'm going because I know me and I will fall in love with that coastal town being so close to the water and everything's green and beautiful. I'll fall in love with it, and then if you hate it and you say, no, we're not moving there, I'll resent you for the rest of your life. So I said, how about you take Braden, because Michaela, Charlie, and Bryant, they have no problem going anywhere. Like, those kids would be happy anywhere. We weren't concerned that they would be upset if we said, hey, would you guys want to move? It was Braden that we were the most concerned about because he's so established in baseball. He has club ball and school ball, high school. So he just started his second year of high school, and we didn't want to uproot that for him, especially like his coaches have been in his life since he was a little kid. We didn't want to uproot, disturb that. But Braden actually said that he wouldn't mind moving because he wants to be closer to the beach. He wants to go fishing. He wants to have new experiences. So Brent and Braden went out to Georgetown to check it out. And surprisingly, after they saw the property, saw the town, the little eateries, met the baseball coach at the high school. You want to talk about that at all, or no?
Nothing.
They actually,
after attending 2 Pelicans games
down in Myrtle Beach.
Down in Myrtle Beach, it was we could do it.
Yeah.
It was something that we would enjoy. Braden actually saw the possibilities out here with baseball is just as equal or the same as in Arizona. It seems like there's enough travel ball and club ball teams here, so that's put our worries to ease. The other one was pulling them out of high school, switching from high school to high school. That was a huge drawback. And
so they liked the property in Georgetown, they liked the town, and we put an offer in on that house. And it was not accepted because it was contingent on the sale of our house in Arizona, and we didn't even have it listed on the market or anything yet. So it kind of put into perspective to us that we needed to list our house, and we did. And right away, before we even had any showings, we had way above asking price offers. And we accepted one. It was a ridiculous offer. It was too good to be true. And honestly, it was, because just 3 days after we were under contract on our house, the interest rates skyrocketed up. And so our buyer backed out. And we had another offer, but it was contingent on the sale of their home. And again, interest rates started going up, and the prices of homes started going down. And they weren't able to sell their house. So for us, ultimately, it was, do we take a risk and leave our house on the market to try to get more money, or do we go ahead and hurry up and sell to what was going to work for us to get out here to South Carolina? I should backtrack that we had put another offer in on the house that we are in now, and they accepted it, and it was contingent on us selling our house. So we had to hurry up and sell our house. And we got a cash offer, essentially, and we took it because it was going to accomplish our goal of moving to South Carolina, being on this beautiful property that we're on, which is 8.5 acres. So a lot more room for homesteading. It's green, it's beautiful. There's a lot to this property that when we start showing you guys, you're going to be like, wow. And
there's a lot to do on this.
There's a lot. The house is 145 years old, so there's a lot to do to the house and the property. But it's a magical place. And so Brent and I flew out here after they accepted our offer. We're like, oh crap. So we flew out here to see it in person, and I fell in love with the property. Like, I felt that it's just magical. I knew that the girls especially were going to love it here. And we talked to a lot of people, it's a small town, 800 or 850 people or so. So we talked to a lot of people in town, the local police officer we talked to a bunch of parents and the youth sports director at the little park. And they told us a little bit about the schools and about the community and how sports are very, very important here. Those locusts. And it's kind of like Friday Night Lights. Anytime there's a game in town, the whole town kind of shuts down. So we just, after talking to people in town and experiencing the Southern hospitality, we really just felt like, okay, we would fit in here. This would be a good fit for our family. The house and the property is perfect for our needs, for our family, for homesteading. And I know a lot of our family and friends aren't really too familiar with homesteading, but back in Arizona on our 1 acre, we were raising animals each for a purpose, and we were gardening to try to grow as much of our own food as possible.
I think everyone wants to know why we didn't tell them we were moving, why it was last minute.
Well, you kind of
covered that, but the reality of it was is we didn't want to put our eggs.
I'm a very optimistic, manifest kind of person, where I like to put out those positive vibes and energy, and Brent is the complete opposite. He's a little, not pessimistic, but more realistic, more like he doesn't want to jinx it. You know, we didn't want to jinx it. You didn't want to jinx it by talking about it as if it were going to happen if it weren't.
I didn't want to put things in motion that weren't possibly going to be in motion. So we put an offer in on this house. We got accepted because we had the great offer originally. Then the great offer backed out because the interest rate skyrocketed. And then we got another offer, but that was contingent on the sale of their home in Arizona, and most homes aren't selling right now in Arizona because there's so many on the market. So I didn't want to mention it to anybody because we didn't know if we were going to stay or not, or go, and just didn't want the oh, you're moving, and especially when it came to the kids in school and whatnot. So when that offer fell through, trying to wait on the contingency of the other offer, this one we'd already made our offer and put our earnest down.
And our clock was ticking. Like, we were running out of time, and we were really, really close to losing this house. Like, we got a cash offer a week and a half before we were like our deadline to close on this
one. So once we got that cash offer, it just went quick.
We literally packed up our life and got on the road.
Moving truck and closed on our house so we could have and be able to close on this one. Supposedly this one had multiple backup offers, and they were ready to move on because we, talking to the real estate agents and whatnot. They weren't going to extend it anymore. They weren't going to wait any longer.
So
it was really. Our son had a baseball tournament in Louisiana. We went to that. We came back from Louisiana, and we got that cash offer. I mean, we were getting ready to start school in Arizona. Got that cash offer, and to our surprise, it worked. And
so ultimately,
we made the closing time. So we didn't really have time to say bye to family. We didn't really have time to say bye to friends or any of that, because we honestly thought we were staying as of 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we didn't want the whole, well, why didn't you move? What happened? I just don't like having those conversations, and
right.
It just didn't work out. But this time it worked out, and to our surprise and everyone else's, we were gone.
Yeah, and it was a really tough decision because our moms are both in Arizona. Brent's brother, my sisters, and our other family, and we don't know anybody out here. We have a cousin that's in North Carolina, about 3 hours away, which is really nice, but we are used to having family around, and to move out here to a small town and a state where we don't know anybody and we have no family around, and our family's so far away. I mean, we literally moved across the country. It was really scary, and it was a tough choice, but I feel like when we do have visits, the time is going to be a better use of the time, more quality time. And so that was hard and difficult, but we just had to weigh it all out, and we felt that not having, Brent's retired. He retired from the sheriff's office 2 years ago. And so we just figured, if we have the chance to, the market in Arizona was going back down, so it was either sell our house then or be stuck there forever. And not having a mortgage, I mean, we own this house. We own these 8.5 acres. It's ours. It's not the bank's. And for that, we just feel very blessed and grateful. And I mean, it was a huge goal. And accomplishing that when we have our kids that are still so young, I feel like we felt like it was going to provide us the opportunity to give our kids more experiences and more opportunities. So that's the gist of why we moved all the way to South Carolina.
I think that's everybody's goal for retirement, is to pay off their mortgage. And we did that. I mean, we still have a lot more.
We still have other
things to
debt that we're
do.
paying off, and
Still have a long journey ahead of us, but I think the next goal would be being even more self-efficient, self-sustaining, be able to grow our own food and
raise our animals.
And be mortgage-free.
And
it's going to help us a lot financially.
Right. And this wasn't just a rash decision. This is something that we both, our whole family, kids included, spent a lot of time in prayer about. We had to pray hard. And then when the first property didn't work out and they didn't accept our offer, it was like, maybe God doesn't want us to. And, and then this property came up, and it's like, okay, well, if it's God's will for us to leave Arizona and go all the way to South Carolina, then God's going to make it happen. And I felt like, I'm sure you did too a little bit, but I was, I think, very vocal with you about it. I felt like at times we were being very tested when things weren't going our way, or it wasn't going as quickly as we had hoped or in the direction we hoped. I was trying to decipher, like, is this God saying, wait, I have something better for you? Or was it just Satan, like, really just poking at us, trying to, like, make us lose faith? And we kept our faith. We stayed persistent in prayer. And, eventually it all came together in God's timing and His way. And we are where we feel God wanted us to be. And I think for us, that's becoming more evident each day as the kids start school and they're making friends and they're doing sports and they're happy. And, we have a lot of work. This house is beautiful, and the land is too, but we have our work cut out for us. But we knew that coming into it, and we just feel like every day there's just little confirmations that we're getting that this is where God wanted us to be, and we had to follow that lead. And it was scary, but when it's God's will, it's you have to trust that. And I feel like that's definitely played a huge part into how we ended up here in this little town in South Carolina, a mile from the North Carolina border, 45 minutes from the beach, on 8.5 acres with no mortgage. So we are looking forward to getting our house unpacked and in order, slowly doing some renovations or upgrades to the house that we'll show you guys, and then start farming on our property, start figuring out where we're going to put animals, how we're going to incorporate them, where we're going to set up our garden and start growing food. How can we serve our community out here? And so we're trying to take time, meet people, figure out how God wants us to serve out here, and then move forward from there. So it's all just, one day at a time. All right, so it's been raining every day, and it's warm out here, and we have a lot to do before we pick up the kids. So
before it starts raining again.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. If you will please do us a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Like and share.
No, subscribe to it. We appreciate all of the comments on Facebook. When we post to Facebook, we really appreciate all the comments and the interactions. But if we could move those comments over to YouTube, that actually just helps the algorithms, helps more people be able to find our channel. And we do this to document things for our kids to look back on when they're grown, and then we thought it was just a really great way to keep our friends and family back at home updated on kind of what's going on in our lives and stuff. So yeah, if you can just subscribe, and we'd appreciate it. And thank you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Are we going live?
When?
Oh, this isn't live?
This isn't live. This is a camera recording. Oh, we got to get him up to date on how things work, but thanks guys.